Hello, everyone. I'm here to showcase the wonderful poetry today of Forestine Bynum. Forestine has been writing poems for several years, is well known in the greater DMV, in the greater DC, Washington, DC area. And we're so pleased that she's been willing to share some of her iconic poems about Black History Month with us today. Go ahead, Forestine, and share a poem with us if you would.
Hi, I am going to read a month, and I wrote it because in celebration of Black History Month, I feel we have the shortest month of the year, and Black history is not a month, it's the year round. So sit back and enjoy. A month. You gave me a month, the shortest month of the year, to tell about the rich history of a people shackled and oppressed, to tell a history deep rooted in the making of a great nation. I tell of inventors, doctors, educators, lawyers, scientists, and a president. I speak of mothers, fathers, grandfathers, grandson, sons, and daughter, and a space shuttle soaring to the moon with a daughter and her dreams aboard. Educators daring to teach basic reading, writing, and arithmetic, and one man's flight to the Supreme Court, a son gifted hand given the tiniest miracle, a better life of quality, sometimes life itself. A father inviting the heart to love and keep pumping, and peanuts fed more than hunger. And peanuts would feed more than hunger. I am speaking of dancing, singing, bringing pleasure and erasing pain. I tell of a husband, father, preaching against the violence that brought his people here and later would take their life, his life. I am speaking of a young activist from the streets of Chicago, the senator elected to serve as leader of the country, changing the tapestry of the White House, and people chanting, yes, we can, yes, we can. I recall making of laws, forcing a country to welcome all people into schools, churches, and voting booths, and a mother's right to work, walk, and sit wherever she wished. I have a month to make you remember a father, a son, a daughter, and a mother, and a history. I have the shortest month of the year to tell about love, faith, survival. I have a month to tell you about people's courage. I have a month to tell you about my people.
Wonderful, Forestine. That was Forestine Bynum reading her poem, A Month. Would you like to share another one with us?
Yes, this one is called Beans, Hot Dogs, and Coleslaw. Growing up hungry and receiving free school lunches, I know well. Today, here in schools refuses children lunch. The rocky memories that haunt me resurface, spilling onto the floor at my feet. I hear the lunch lady saying, beans, hot dogs, and coleslaw. And when I get to the lunch counter, beans, hot dogs, and coleslaw. The old rusty trunk that I buried in the far corner of the attic carrying my shame gave way to the heavy weight of my memories. Beans, hot dogs, and coleslaw. My pain, my memories, the shame and taunting, all now laying at my feet. My head pounding as I walk slowly to the lunchroom, with my blue ticket folded tightly in my hands, looking down at my tattered shoes, lined with pieces of cardboard paper to protect my feet, and the very worn, faded dress no longer fit me. Hearing the chanting of beans, hot dogs, and coleslaw echoing off of the school hallway walls. I could refuse the blue lunch ticket, and go hungry, but I wouldn't fare any better. Accepting that beans, hot dogs, and coleslaw did stop the gut-wrenching pain in my stomach. Embarrassingly, I took the blue lunch ticket. Where is America's shame? Food is a people need, not an option. Tell me, we can't feed our children beans, coleslaw, and hot dogs? I know that little girl. I clutched that blue ticket tightly in my hands. I know her shame and pain. I heard the chanting of beans, hot dogs, and coleslaw. I like the tangy, sweet, and savory taste of baked beans, hot dogs, and coleslaw. In this wealthy country, America, people are dying from hunger. Can they have beans, hot dogs, and coleslaw? Or should we let them die?
Mm. So that was Forestine Bynum reading Beans, Hot Dogs, and Coleslaw. That poem will be appearing on the Poetry Ex Hunger website, where we have a number of poems about the tragedy of hunger. Thank you, Forestine. Do you have one other? And then we'll maybe take just a second break to talk about your poems. Do you have one other with us?
Okay, this one, Consider Me. I'm writing this one from the point of a Black male. I, a Black man, born of a Black woman, an inventor, a scientist, an educator. I outlined cities and gave them lights. I, a Black man, accused and jailed more often than others. I, a Black man, born to the mother of beauty. I, a man, struggling to feed, clothe, and educate my children. For the job, I am the first to let go. When called to war, I stand first in the lines of combat. I am a warrior, a soldier, a hero, a man, a son, a husband, and a father, but often overlooked. I bear scars on my back, an account of my history, a history where contributions are ignored, and I carry the truth in my heart. I, a Black man, stand last in line for freedom, a freedom I am denied. I sit at the table of democracy and justice for all mankind. My vote rarely counts. I, a Black man, consider I was born here. I'm still here. I'm staying here. I, a Black man, tell my true story. Rewrite my story. I, a Black man. I, a man.
Mm-hmm. Always powerful, Forestine. Tell us just a little bit about, as you said, that was in the voice of a Black man. Tell us a little bit about where that poem came from and why you thought it was important to express the poem in that way.
Well, sitting here watching TV, and you see crime, and you see the injustice of white versus Black crime. When Blacks can do more like a misdemeanor, and they are jailed for 5 years. A white do a misdemeanor, and he get a slap on the hand and say, don't do it again. And then when we are approached, we are always sure that they are going to pound and hound us, Black men. So the first thing your parents teach you is put your hands at 12 o'clock on the steering wheel, but that sometimes isn't good enough still. So therefore, we need the laws to correct this. We need people's attitude to correct this. We as people, the only people can change this. So that was why I was writing from the point of view of a
your
Black
poem
man.
speaks to both Black history, but also how that history is still haunting us and affecting us and impacting us today.
Right, because it came from slavery. They had people with guns to hunt slaves down. and drag them, do whatever they needed to do. So that same mentality is still going on. It's just not written as slaves they are looking for, but simply they are still treated very badly.
Well, thank you for writing that poem of witness. Do you have a couple of more that you would like to share with us before we close down the Zoom room?
Yes. These hands, the lines on my fingers trace back to hands looking like mine. I see my mother's hands and grandma's hands. I hated those lines, wrinkles I call them. Mama said the lines tell stories, our stories. All her kin had hands like these. She could spot a kin anywhere. Just show her your hands. The lines trace back to home, to the Nile River, to Nigeria, to Sudan, to a tribe of people looking like me, where ancestors do each other by looking at their hands. Strong hands, praying hands, loving hands, healing hands, hands for cradling life, forgiving hands. For every line, there is a name connecting to people looking like me. People mastering the art of basket weaving, quilt making, making garments worn by royalty. Hands praising God, dancing hands, teaching hands, and in between the lines, a little time for self, and the rest given to loving. Bread making hands, stopping the stifling pain in the pit of an empty stomach. Hands with purpose, hands like Sojourner, Harriet Tubman, Mary Bethune, hands like my mother's hands looking like mine. These hands tell stories.
Wonderful. And I know your upcoming closing poem is a timeless one. So would you be willing to share it with us?
Yeah, this is one of my most requested poems, actually, and it's been published quite a lot. The dance. I hear the rhythm and the beat of my forefathers as they dance to the sounds of drums. And I listen to the echoes of the tides carrying the moans of a stolen people. They dance, a rapid beat of feet pounding mercy into high clay, birds jumping, dancing with the motion. And I will start this one again, I'm sorry. The dance. I hear the rhythm and the beat of my forefathers as they dance to the sounds of drums. And I listen to the echoes of the tides carrying the moans of a stolen people. They dance, a rapid beat of feet pounding mercy into hot clay, and jumping with emotion and grace of birds in flight, singing merciful pleas, begging to be spared. High winds and low tides join the beat of the drums and the dance of night. Listen, listen. I hear my ancestors' motionless dance. I hear the silence of the drums and the quiet moans carried over the low tides. I hear the beat stop. I feel the rhythm quietness. I know the sound of mercy. I know the dance of night. Listen, listen. I hear my people. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Forestine, thank you so much. And we'll have to have you come back and record some other of your fine poems. But thanks for this session. I really appreciate it. Well,
thanks for the invite.
you take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.